our tractor doing? Still tractoring away. I'll stop the worker when we get to the end. Go and stop. Drop that. Make sure I'm going forwards. Let's go get the tipper. So that was kind of impressive. It doesn't take long to do it with the big equipment. Backwards. I will empty this. I will then empty the harvester again. I will take a load to the store and sell, just to see how much we're actually getting. Here. That's all done, okay. 10. There we go. And I'll fold the harvester up. I'll jump back in the tractor and let's go sell some soybeans. There we go. And that's a full load. I think. With the horsepower available, this tractor is not happy with this load. Yeah, obviously later on I should probably consider a big rig track and trailer. To do the to market haulage. One, it goes faster, and two, it's capable of a larger capacity. stop sign. So yeah, as you can see over there, you've got a lot of these little streams going through the fields and breaking it up the lanes. I'm gonna pull that. I think so, yes. This farm will be... Oops, sorry. Let's concentrate on driving. This farm will be my sort of occasional weekend farm, if you like. I may, if I get bored with Estancia Lapacho, feature this one on Tuesdays. But for now, I'm kind of trying it out. Obviously, with the state it's been in development. We don't know if a game save is going to break it. Oh, sorry, if an update is going to break the game save. So that's kind of a risk I'm taking. And if that happens, I may come back to it. I may check to see what other maps are available that I'd like to take a look at. But for now, this isn't Ravenport or Felsbrunn or Estancia Lapacho, so it's something different. As I said, not usually my style of farm. But, hey, everybody needs to play large equipment sometimes. Just like everybody needs to do a potato harvest at least once. Okay, loads of money time. What was that? 41,000. So we've still got another 41 at home. Which is a good thing. So I believe field 2 is also soybeans and is also ready to harvest. It's 10. 10 is also ready to... No, 10 is... Okay, 10 is corn, 11 is soybeans, 11 is ready to harvest. That's 147. That's 100. That's even more expensive than that one. That surprises me. That's theoretically more than that one. So 147. We've got 248. That'll drop us down to 100,000. But we still have a load of soybeans in the barn. Yeah. Okay, we'll buy that. We'll drive back to the yard. I've done planting potatoes, I've done harvesting potatoes, and potatoes are an incredibly inefficient crop when it comes to seeds. And the harvesting equipment is comparatively small when you compare it to beet harvesters. The potato harvesters can't hold as much crop inside. And you know, they're both of pretty much of a muchness when it comes to loading up a tipper and taking it to market. But when it comes to harvesting, the potato harvester has a very small capacity for such a high high density crop, and so you are constantly having to unload it, which means you, as a solo farmer, you don't have enough time to take the crop anywhere to sell. At least with beets, the harvester is quite large, so given a good sized trailer or tipper, you can run to the store and back and sell some. With both of them, regular silo won't hold them. I believe the silos on this map do accept potatoes and sugar beets. But, you know, given the choice between potatoes and sugar beets, I would do sugar beets, and only if I'm growing pigs. And what's the other consideration on those? I forget what I was going to say, but yeah, they're just very manually intensive, and if it's only just you, you're servicing those harvesters forever, or at least it seems like it. Oh, that was right, yeah. But with potatoes, because you can reuse the harvest as seed, that's where potatoes come into their own. What am I doing? You can what is it? You can plant potatoes, and then when you come to harvest, you harvest the potatoes, and then you can stick some back in the seeder and go and plant them again. So you're not paying out for seed after your first planting, which is kind of a good thing, and it goes along with the sugarcane thing, where you can plant sugarcane and it stays planted. Good night, Binpin. Have a good evening, and I'll see you about. I am going to take this over here and harvest this field, or at least set this field up for harvest. So, you know, there is a benefit to potatoes if you, as a player, determine it's worth your time. As I said, it's worth doing once, and having done it once, you may not do it ever again. And yes, there's a reason why most people prefer to do soybeans or sunflowers, is because it's a far less labour intensive crop to worry about. I mean, I'm doing soybeans here, and the harvester can make 4 trips up and down the field before it's full. If I was doing wheat, I might be lucky to get 1, maybe 1.5 trips up and down the field before it's full. So it's all, yeah, it's how much time you want to invest. Actually, it's not how much time you want to invest in the game. It's how much of the game you want to you are prepared to experience and get money in return. The income from things like soybeans and wheat is almost identical for the size of the field. If this was a field of wheat, I would probably get about the same amount of money out of it. The difference is I would have to unload the harvester 2 or 3 times in the, whereas for the soybeans, I would only have to unload it once. So that's where, you know, as a game, people look at it and say soybeans are more productive because they're worth more. Well, they're worth more because you get less of them. So it's actually not in the value of the crop or, you know, how much money you're going to get out of it, because at the bottom line is you are going to get about the same amount of money for beets and or for wheat or soybeans. It's just the amount of time you have to spend harvesting or taking care of the harvester, because every so often you have to stop the harvester and unload it. So we've got 100,000 money. This will give us 147 thereabouts, 48. I'm going to look up tractors. Look up tractors while this is tipping. Yes, but the point is you don't get as much soybeans and sunflowers out of a field as you do wheat. So the sale is very close to being the same. I can't look on this because the sell point doesn't tell me how much it's worth. But if your soybeans are worth 2,000 litres or $2,000 for a litre, and your wheat's worth about $800 per litre, it still works out. You're getting about 2.5 litres of wheat to every litre of soybeans, or 2 litres of wheat. And when you add in the straw that you're getting from the wheat as well, you're ending up as almost a wash. Obviously, prices fluctuate. If you sell when the price is green, you're going to make more. If you sell when the price is red, you're going to make less. And if there's a great demand, that plays a role in how much you're making. But typically, you're making about the same amount. It's just that you have to put in a lot more work to harvest the field of wheat and straw, because once you've harvested the wheat, you've emptied the harvester twice as often as you would with soybeans, and you've had to go around with either a loading wagon or a baler to pick all the straw up, and then you have to ship that to market separately from the wheat. So it's more work of game time, but it's no more money. Okay, we're going to look at farmyard implements. Okay, so potentially there's this track. That's 170 horsepower. See, the downside of this as your one and only tractor when you start off is there's no front loader attachment. But there are a lot of wheel options, including that one. And there are a lot of engine options, which puts you 261, only 19 horsepower less than the case I have. But we're talking $142,000 for that. Oh, sorry, no, not even. Yes, $143,000 for that. And if I put the small engine in, it's 98. So 170 horsepower, that would work for us. I could go back and take small tractors. And there's the 1455, which is 102. That's more expensive than the 1750. But this one does have a front loader. It doesn't have a 3-point at the front. It's still got a fair amount of wheel options, including narrows. Neither, as a one and only starting tractor, I would not consider this one or the other case. But as a second tractor, yeah, they have a possibility. So that's 102, and that's 98. See, for what I'm looking at now, I would buy that one, just basic. So you've got 3-point hitch front and back. It's got a 170 horsepower engine, which means it can haul that plough. That's an option. For now, we need to get back to the farm because the harvester's going to be filling up soon. Well, quite, yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, but then if you had pigs, you would need to grow soybeans or sunflowers. When I play a farm, I'm typically looking at where is the farm based. So for Lawfolds, it's in Scotland, and typically what do they grow there? Well, typically in Scotland they grow barley because the distillers use it to make whiskey, and they will grow to a lesser extent wheat, oats and other cereal crops, and canola is featured. Soybeans very rarely, sunflowers not at all, and until about 5-6 years ago corn wasn't grown in Scotland either. Now, 2 farms trialled corn about 5 or 6 years ago, and the corn was intended for animal feed only. It wasn't intended for human consumption. But that is, if you want to play a farm in Scotland, you're predominantly going to grow barley, in spite of the fact on Lawfolds barley doesn't have as good a sell price as wheat. But to be somewhat prototypical, I will have most of my more than 50% of my field area will be growing barley, because that's what's grown in that area of the world. I won't grow cotton there. Not that I could, but I would not grow cotton there because cotton's not grown in Scotland. Sugar cane is not grown in Scotland. Sugar beets and potatoes are, but sugar beets and potatoes are a pain in the butt to harvest, so I don't grow them, although I have grown sugar beets at times. And one of the reasons was because I wanted to find out. I had heard rumours that you can harvest beets and potatoes when the ground's wet, and you can run a beet harvester while it's raining, which is kind of nice for Lawfolds, because at least last year 4 of the 6 days of fall it rained, and so I couldn't harvest anything else, and I was sitting around hoping that I would have enough time from when the crop dried out to harvest my grains before the winter came, and they all died. Now, I'm not sure that soybeans and corn is typical of where this map is intended to represent. But I also don't know if they're... Well, if we get down to owning field 3 and 4, I might consider putting wheat or barley on 3 and then seeing if there's somewhere I can sell the wheat, sell the straw. But outside of that, I'm probably going to avoid crops that create straw for now. Okay, we'll leave that there. I'll find the plough and get back to ploughing. But it's, you know, you're playing your game. You're playing what you want to do. Yeah, if you play train sim, some people like electric trains, some people like diesel trains, some people like steam trains, some people prefer American, some people prefer European. So you play what you want to play. Personally, I like British steam, so given a choice, I tend to play British steam routes and British steam locomotives. But that's not to say I've never played diesels and I've never played electrics. I've played some American maps, I've played some European maps. But it's you know, you play the game you want to play. And I'm going to stop that. And then restart manual. So if you if your aim of farm sim is to make money as efficiently as possible, you're going to stick to soybeans or sunflowers. If you want to experience as much as a farm sim as possible, you're possibly going to plant some poplars in a field sometime or whatever. Just so you experience everything. You're going to have some cows, you're going to have some sheep, just so that you experience each of the animals. Not necessarily all on the same farm. But when it came to having animals on a farm, I would generally stick to sheep because they're easy. They don't eat a lot of hay or grass. And all you need for hay and grass is a field of grass. They don't need straw. They need water, and then they produce wool, and wool was very lucrative back in Farm Sim 17. At least when you got enough sheep it was. And sheep still don't eat a lot of hay or grass. Now cows are a pain in the butt to feed sometimes because they've got TMR, they've got grass, they've got silage and hay. They need straw, they need water, and they need a lot of it. And the more cows you have, the more you need of each of them. A lot more of each you need of them. And so, sometimes it's just easier to stick with the easy stuff and make the money that way. A lot of people who spent their time just doing silage because silage brings in loads of money and you don't have to keep reseeding the field unless you're doing corn silage. We don't have a BGA on this map, so I can't do that either. At least I'm not aware of a BGA on this map. Some people like logging, so they either play logging maps or they plant trees on all their fields so they can chop down, feed trees. It's the game you want to play. And nobody's going to criticize you for it. So, how are we doing? barely started with the ploughing. I'm guessing we've probably... Oh, that's interesting actually. How far we got? 1, 2. If a trailer loads 40,000, 48,000 was it, or 41,000? We've probably got less than 60,000 on this field. I'm not sure how that factors with the extra that we've still got in the silo in the farm. But I think between this field and the other field we've got 2 more trailer loads to take. I could buy field 3 and 4, but that is going to mean that I need a corn header. Which is an extra expensive equipment. I could buy field 11, was it? Field 11, which is ready to harvest and is also soybeans, and will bring immediate return in money. Downside is once we've finished this harvest, obviously the harvester gets to sit around and do nothing for a while, and we've got 1 tractor to do all the field work with. So I say I might buy the 7210 Pro with just the base engine and run that with the plough. Fields as well. There's no lime silos anywhere close, so we're going to have to buy bags from the store again. And lime gets used up way too quickly. I could skip liming the fields anyway. It's 15% over 3 harvests, but it's a lot of hassle. Still got ways to go. Oh, this field wasn't field 1 was 100% fertilized. This field has 0% fertilization, so the yield on this field isn't going to be as good either. So we're losing out. No lime, no ploughing, and 0 fertilization. I still have bought a seeder, and we're going to need a fairly big one. I'm thinking we're going to fill this up once. We're probably going to be able to take the rest of the field without emptying the harvester again. I have made it to tier 10 in British battleships. I have 3 tier 10 ships. I have a Shimakaze, which is tier 10 destroyer Japanese. I've got the Conqueror, which is tier 10 British battleship, and I've got the Montana, which is tier 10 American battleship. I don't play the Conqueror frequently. I did play the lower tier quite frequently, obviously to push through to get to tier 10. And I've got the Warspite, which I got in a crate or something, or a mission. I got the Queen Elizabeth last Christmas as, you know, complete a series of quests and you get a bunch of tier 6 ships, and the Queen Elizabeth, I believe, was one of them. Well, frankly, I don't see the point in having both the Queen Elizabeth and the Warspite, since they're effectively the same ship. But since I got both of them for free, it's kind of well, okay then. Got the Leander free as well. But for British cruisers, I'm up to tier 9, the Neptune. But for the most part, I'm generally a destroyer player. Although mid-tier, not high-tier. There's too much radar around a high-tier. Makes it very difficult to be a destroyer. Although, they are supposed to be changing the way radar works. From what I hear now, when a ship activates the radar, they will see targets in their radar range immediately, and everyone else will see the position of the ship like you do when there's a storm. So if someone else is spotting a ship, you can see the outline of that ship, but you can't see the ship on, you know, the ship's not rendered for you to shoot at. So it's a wild guess shooting at it. That will run for a few seconds before the radared ships get seen, so you can shoot at them. So there will be a bit of there will be a short delay where the only ship that can shoot them accurately is the guy with the radar. So it's not going to be a case of, yeah, you're going to die immediately because you're spotted and now everybody's shooting at you. However, the fact that you're showing up as an outline on their mini-map is possibly going to result in people will hold their fire until you appear, so you don't get away with I need to empty that. You don't get away with someone fires and then, oh look, there's somebody's appeared on my screen and it's going to be 12-15 seconds before my guns reload now. They're just not going to fire immediately because they know you're going to appear any second now. But you have a chance, maybe, to get behind an island before they see you and shoot at you accurately. Oh, hello, M. Montgomery. Thank you for the host. No, radar duration can be upgraded with a ship module. like the steering gear modules and the accuracy modules and what have you. There is a special module which extends the duration of radar, but you can't upgrade it any other way. There are no captain skills that allow you to upgrade radar. Okay. So let's do this. Drive down the field. Okay, this map is Rolling Hills. It's by DR Modding, and you can find his page on Facebook. It's currently in a pre-release state, and I don't know how far along he is with development. It's, as I said, it's a pre-release, so it's not finished. There are some issues with it. Someone was here earlier and said apparently contracts sometimes don't pay out. But hey, it's a chance to see it in action. The land I found is comparatively cheap compared with other maps, which has meant that I've got a big field over there, the one that's all brown because I harvested it earlier, and this field here, which is quite big, and I have some fairly acceptably sized equipment. Yeah, I'm going to have to check out Stevie's stuff at some time. As I say, I saw this one come up and I thought it looks interesting, so I will take a closer look at it when I get a chance to. So this is my chance, and here is a closer look. Left turn. Change the view angle. I guess they're not as huge as some of the fields I saw in Farm Sim 17, where you could have 3 or 4 of these harvesters running in formation and still be taking a small chunk of the field out. But, a fairly good size the way it is now. I'm going to stick that on a worker and jump to the tractor and see how we're doing. Oh, he's nearly at the end of that bit. That's good. Now once this is done, I'm going to have to buy a seeder. I think I'm going to skip liming. Needs lime. At least we got the ploughing done. Come on, let's go. At this point, lime is an extravagance I probably can't afford. There's A, the cost, B, the hassle of going to get it, because it does use up so quickly. I need some more equipment for that, and we probably want some good size equipment in order to be able to do the job fairly quickly. I'll just run with the plough. Now what I might do is buy a plough and another tractor, so I can have the Puma, is it, running the seeder whilst a different tractor runs the plough. Yeah, I started my first Farm Sim 19 playthrough when Estancia Lapachera was released. So I'm also running the small case harvester and the Deutz-Fast 6.61, since those three all came out on the same day on the mod, on Giants mod site. There is a commander skill for what is it? Radio Direction Finder, which gives a player an indication to the nearest ship. It's nothing to do with radar, it's a completely different skill. And it can be very useful, especially for ships where their gun turrets turn slowly. It can give you a heads up, especially, you know, Japanese destroyers where the turrets turn so slowly. If you've got a heads up that somebody is coming at you from a different direction, you can get your guns turned around in time to be able to shoot them when you get to see them. But your ship does not have to have radar to use that skill, and yeah, ship doesn't need radar in order to use that skill. Oh. So yeah, nowhere near a full tank here. I think for now I'm going to settle on just these two fields, and we're going to need to get some crop back in the ground before, so we can start making money, making more money. Ploughing the fields will improve the yield, and then fertilizing this field will improve the yield of this field as well. Which means I am going to need a fertilizer, either a spray or a solid. Is this going to fit? No! No, it's not. Well done. Okay. Guess I need a 48-foot draper. So sad I have to come back again. So what other things do we know? Kind of running out of things to talk about, and my throat's getting a bit dry. What's the time now? Nearly 9:30. Okay, I'm going to finish this field off and probably buy a seeder. Buy a seeder and another tractor. When the other tractor gets here with the seeder, I'll swap it over for the one that's doing the ploughing, and we can take the rest of the soybeans to market, and I'll call it a night at that point. So we've probably got maybe another 15 minutes to go on this, but I need to wind this up soon. That's slow. We're going to need to clean this off, aren't we? Just a bit. Run, Forest, run. This one only comes with crawler tracks. No, yes. It has a regular and wide tyres, but that's for the back wheel only. And there we go. Job done. Extend the pipe and turn the engine